It is the greatest cup competition in the world. That's right. It's the U.S. Open Cup. It's tomorrow.
There's no envelopes anymore, though.
Phoenix Rising are facing a familiar foe in the assistant coaching lineup. Head coach former Rising head coach Juan Guerra returns to Phoenix Rising Stadium. We're talking about it right now. Hey, we're back, coming to you live from Studio K, presented by Circle K. Go on into your local Circle K. Download that Inner Circle membership through the Circle K app. Opt in, save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fills. Get all the rewards after that. Shout out our friend Circle K. Shout out these two next to me. It is another edition of the PHNX Rising podcast. We are talking Phoenix Rising's game from this past weekend. We are talking Phoenix Rising's matchup tomorrow. And maybe we'll even slip in a little of this upcoming weekend's matchup. But we have so much to talk about. We do have an exclusive interview with former Phoenix Rising head coach Juan Guerra later in the program. Guys, it is a loaded episode. I am, of course, Max Simpson. On my right, it is Rees, the stat lackey. Goodall, how we doing?
Arsenal play tomorrow, so I'm not doing that good.
Sounds about right. And on my left, it is Owain, the Oracle Evans. How we doing, sir?
Cardiff aren't playing anymore for the rest of the year. Well, until the new season starts. So I'm doing great. I'm doing really well.
And we're going to give up one goal within the first 5 minutes when we play our Norwegian side boat again on Thursday. So it's going to be all imploding. So we are all doing miserable European-wise and whatnot. Of course,
we're not playing again now. So I get to ignore the fact that they exist for a while.
You're getting relegated anyway. But
we are.
Someone who's not getting relegated, they're playing in a third-tier division or third-tier competition. It is Damon Dog behind the brand redacted computer making his return to the pod. The Honorable Judge Damon Dog. How we doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Max, but I'm sorry, are you disrespecting the UEFA Conference League right now?
No, we don't care about that. We've never really wanted to stay in that competition long anyway.
Yeah, no, you certainly. That's
again, we don't prioritize.
Yeah, you were the first
competitions.
English team to get eliminated from it.
Yeah, wasn't
Villa did too.
I think the manager was like in jail or something. That's a whole another story for another time. Appreciate everyone joining us. Make sure to hit the like button on your way in here. We got Mikey in the chat. Bendo's Bluebird saying such nice things about me as always. We got Andrew Dang in the chat. Appreciate all of you guys. Guys, there is so much to get into. Let's go chronologically with this one, right? Again, the Open Cup is the main focus. We will have that Juan Guerra interview with you guys shortly, but let's take care of some business. Phoenix Rising travel to Colorado Springs, 1-1 draw against Colorado Springs Switchbacks, right? They go up early. Jearl Margaritha, if that guy, the ball is at his feet, in the final third, more often than not, it seems like these days he is finishing, death taxes and Jearl Margaritha scoring a banger, scoring a clinical goal. That's what he does. And yet we have seen this so often. Phoenix Rising seemingly open and exposed within the midfield, within the defense. I think you look at this game, right? Both teams begging a lot of chances. You could make the argument Phoenix Rising were even the more wasteful than Colorado Springs. But guys, what do we take from this matchup? It is a point. It's the elusive road victory that's just not happened for them recently.
Yeah. They've still got more road victories than they got home victories right now.
This is true.
I'll say that. But look, you brought up Jearl Margaritha and what he's been doing. Obviously, yes, he has been a critical part of this team. So too has Isan Sako, right? Between the two of them, they both have goal contributions in their last 4 USL. Well, Isan Sako in his last 4 away games in the league, but Jearl Margaritha in his last 4 games in the league. Okay, these guys are finding ways to either score themselves or create goals. Now you have, of course, the important problem that comes from that, which is that Jearl Margaritha went down injured just about 6 minutes after scoring a goal against Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Looked like it was something to do with his groin. That's what it sounds like. They were still waiting on some MRIs earlier this week, but it sounds as though he will not be probably available to face Houston Dynamo tomorrow, very plausibly into the weekend as well. Not great news, really, is it?
No, not in the slightest. Because I mean, you could tell in that match once he left the pitch, Rising didn't create a whole lot in that game as a whole. But once he went off the pitch, the creativity went down a notch. I know Hope Avievu created quite a few chances, but still, there was just nothing from that front three that showed, hey, they could score another goal. They could take the full 3 points in Colorado Springs, and then ultimately just a few lost bodies at the back, and they concede in the second half, and it ends 1-1.
I think, though, it's a little bit unfair to say they didn't create anything, right? You know, they do put up over 2 XG. You look at some of the chances that they had. I mean, there's the one, obviously, that's cleared off the line.
Yeah.
Right? We do also have to, I think about the fact that it's not they weren't creating, but in front of goal, they just really weren't clinical. And they didn't test the goalkeeper. That's the thing.
Sure.
After that point, after that one cleared off the line, when did they put a shot on target?
Yeah, I think,
they don't. They actually don't. That was the last one they had.
It seems like it's one of those matches where even if they're not testing the goalkeeper, I think the frustrating part about it is you're watching this, and the players don't have the same benefit as we do, where you're watching on the broadcast, you're seeing the angles that we do, a bit more of a bird's eye view, especially in that stadium. But we're seriously, we look like ants down there. But you're looking at the runs being made. Guys are in really good positions. The ball's just not getting there. It seems like it's just a hair too late with that pass. If that gets arrived even a little bit earlier, this could be a different ballgame for Phoenix Rising in multiple different scenarios, first half and even in the second half.
Yeah. I mean, look, there are a few chances you could really look at and just say, even from Rising's side, that this could have gone completely differently. Colorado Springs, I think, if they'd been a bit more clinical in the final third, could have been a lot differently, really, here. I mean, the one that really sticks in the throat a little bit is that one Rémi Cabral breakaway. I know it's not necessarily the only chance that was had by anyone that game.
Yeah, put that in frame.
Should have done better, but you've got to test the keeper there, right? It's one of those ones whereby you're one-on-one with the goalkeeper. You've broken away from the defenders. The defenders are nowhere near you.
You're not going to get an easier shot than that.
No, and look, if the keeper pulls off a great diving save and tips it aside, it is what it is. Sometimes that's what happens, but you have to get it on target.
Yeah, Mike in the chat saying that Rémi missed 3 chances alone. Devin all in the chat. Here we go. Rémi Cabral is the Darwin Nunez, is the Rasmus Holland of Phoenix Rising. That's not a comment I was prepared for going into this match. And Goalman Pat, with how bad the defense has been, you can't fail to win a match. They only conceded once. That's exactly it. Again, listen, Phoenix Rising, this club is going to create chances. It's not always going to be the most clear cut, but in yesterday, you have seen enough watching this sport year over year after year that very often, if you do not put your chances away, especially when you're already a goal up, especially when you very well could say you were the better attacking side, even if it's not by a massive margin, but all right, a lot of people might say that's what happened after that match, you could get punished for it, and they did. They did not walk away with those 3 points.
And really, it's because Colorado Springs wingers, they just kept going at Rising. I mean, it felt like every time they had an attack, there was just that sense of danger. I mean, Herbert Endley completed 4 of his 7 dribbles attempted, which attempting 7 in its own right is kind of nuts to see at this level. And completing 4, it just felt like something was coming in my eyes to me. And then it ended up, dude, I know there wasn't a whole lot of clear-cut chances. But they still had that. Had that something in the final third. It was just once they got in the box, they missed it.
Yeah. You know why it didn't feel that way at times for me watching it? Because you're right. They'd take players on. They'd beat players. But it felt as though they held on to the ball too often at times, right? They weren't looking for passes. They weren't looking to try and slice things through Rising. When you actually look at how they scored, right, it's a good ball out into a wider area, and then it's just sliced back in when Rising are in disarray, right? And it's the same kind of disarray that we see Rising often get caught at in some of these either transitional or second transitional kind of moments, right? Whereby this team, it doesn't feel as though it's just disjointed at the back. They're following different people. Someone is jogging. You end up with looking at a group of about 4 people in the space of, about a 2-yard square kind of position, and it's just passed around them, and that's how it feels so often when Rising have conceded goals this year. Partly, I'm sure, not helped by the fact that this team can't put together a healthy back line consistent week to week to week. But also, to be honest, I feel as though the midfield isn't contributing defensively as much as it should have, and as much as it should do more
How many times have
broadly.
we said that this season?
Many times.
Every podcast.
Honestly, everybody.
It's a common theme this season, and it's a common theme that's going to stick, I think. And until Rising can figure that out, they're going to keep leaking goals. And how they're going to turn that around, I don't know. Is it enough that just when guys come back and are healthy, that we'll be okay? I don't know. We'll have to see.
We will have to see. I mean, listen, especially with the goal that was conceded, it's always painful when you can kind of see the goal coming. I mean, right? Again, easy to pause frame, easy to kind of watch it back in real time, but you're kind of seeing the buildup. You see the late runners coming into the box, and those are just things of, listen, you're going to have goals like that throughout the season. It's just, it has been far too often where it's mental lapses, right? It's something that Rising, they've capitalized from the attacking sense, but also they have absolutely been wasteful on the defensive side of things. You can't let teams back in the game after you've dominated like that. And again, this is not the first time we've been saying this all season.
And it won't be the last, I'm afraid, either. I mean, I do think, is it Ascel Essengue? Is that how you say it? I thought he had a few good moments, but you could kind of tell he wasn't familiar with the group of guys he's playing with. I thought his passing was good, but if we're finding a bright spot on the back line for, that whole sequence, I thought he was good, but, he can't play on Wednesday, so
that's the thing.
It doesn't matter.
He'll prove a decent addition, I think, in terms of, quite frankly, you needed a body at this point. With a number of players down injured right now or caught up in other things. I mean, they're still waiting to see what's going to happen with Mo at the moment, right? With so much going on at the back line, you needed that extra body. But yes, the fact that he's cup-tied, the fact that he played for Ventura County earlier in this cup competition, which means he isn't now available for Wednesday, it's another frustrating factor going into Wednesday, which is already going to be a pretty thin Phoenix Rising squad.
Yes, it is. Gents, there's always more we can talk about this match. Any further final takeaways from this matchup and this result against Colorado Springs?
At least it's not a loss. Getting a point.
First goal at the new Widener Field.
Yeah.
First goal at the new Widener Field for Phoenix Rising.
Wow, that is true.
Getting a point at Colorado Springs has not been easy for this team. So you kind of take your small victory, even though it's not a victory. But just find something to find joy on, and that's getting the point. So
that's fair. Anything from you, Will?
Just that first goal at Widener Field, the new Widener Field at least, ignoring the old Widener Field that Rising had some good times.
Take us back to last year's away days. Get this man another hot dog.
That was a bad hot dog.
Yeah, shame and regret. Hey, there we go. Well, on the other side of the break, we will be coming at you with our exclusive interview with former Phoenix Rising head coach Juan Guerra. Don't go anywhere. All right. You go after a match like that, you need a little palate cleanser, so to speak, and especially if you are of the 21 years old variety, might I recommend our friends over at Pure Edibles. Pure Edibles, they are founded in Arizona, and they are the gummies of choice for PHNX, available in 130 dispensaries statewide. They are not covered in sugar like all of the other competitors. They are a full-fledged candy company offering gummies and kicks, kind of like their version of Starburst. Chews, almost soft candies, kind of like caramel or caramel. Is it caramel or caramel?
Caramel.
Okay, I say caramel, but that's fair. And other hard candies.
Because you're wrong, Max.
Pure effects are clearly listed on each tit, so you know exactly what you're getting. And again, this is something where, right, Arizona born and bred, these guys are Arizona sports fans, big fans of the D-backs, big fans of the Cardinals. They support us in what we're doing, and they taste amazing. The effects are absolutely phenomenal. They were curated in Flagstaff at Noble Herb Dispensary, home of Pure Edibles, and is now made in Phoenix, so right here in the Valley. Pure gummies are designed to be ripped or bitten in half, so making them very easily shareable. You can get your exact dose for what you are looking for, right? It really is. Make it as you will. They taste fantastic. They have great effects. Again, whether you're looking for the CBN or more of the THC, they got a little bit of everything. Check out Pure Edibles and find them today at over 130 dispensaries across Arizona, and check them out. A lot of people throughout the office have sampled Pure Edibles. A lot of the kicks I know I've been seeing around there, so check them out today. Also, shout out our friends over at Circle K, especially down on you get a little hunger going on from our last partners, right?
There's a road trip on Saturday as well.
But of course, head on over to that place. Some people want to say New Mexico. They love a road trip to New Mexico, right?
Owen's favorite vacation.
Your favorite part about New Mexico
leaving.
Yay! We're gonna work that joke a couple times. Right, Circle K. That is no joke. There, they have Circle Ks throughout New Mexico, throughout Arizona. On
They
that
got
road
one
trip.
right opposite the hotel.
You're
we normally
darn
stay at.
right they do.
What we normally stay at in Albuquerque.
And of course, when you go to that hotel, right, you can fill up with their Inner Circle program. Save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Grabbing the snacks. These Circle K snacks are absolutely elite. Whether it is the chips, the snack gummies, the chocolates, everything they have. The beef jerky is the best Circle K brand. It is genuinely amazing. Devin was saying I'm giving out free ZA and gas. Not quite, but Circle K is certainly helping you save money. Again, with their Inner Circle
Max
program.
is giving away gas?
Max is buying pizza.
Whoa! Oh, you got.
Oh, wait, actually, no. Yeah, no. That's the last thing we need.
Okay. Oh,
Circle K pizza.
Oh, you got it.
You know what? Based on his pizza buying form, Max had promised free gas and he'd show up with diesel.
Here's the best part about Circle K pizza. They don't put spinach and half bell pepper on it. They play the hits. They run the damn football. It's pepperoni and it's cheese.
But download Circle K in the Inner Circle app today. Terms and conditions do apply at participating location. See your local store for more details. We're back here on the PHNX Rising podcast. Again, Houston Dynamo, they are playing here, Phoenix Rising Stadium, tomorrow evening in the latest edition of the U.S. Open Cup. And, I don't know if people know this. I'm sure a lot of people do. Houston's assistant coach, former Phoenix Rising head coach Juan Guerra. Pretty crazy, right?
Indeed.
Wow. And you had a chance to sit down with him for a little interview.
I did.
Anything you'd like to elaborate for sharing with the people?
Nah, let's just watch it.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so Juan, thanks for taking the time to join. Let's just start with the beginning here, the feeling of coming back. What was your first reaction when you discovered that for this round of the Open Cup, you were going to be coming back here to Phoenix?
First I thought Ben and Jack were pulling a prank on me. I didn't think it was real, but then obviously I turned on the computer and I followed the draw and I saw it was Phoenix, and I got very, very happy. I got happy to be able to be back, and then also it hit me very, very quickly because I know what this game means for Phoenix, right? For the city, for the supporters, for the ownership group, coaching staff, and players. And you guys are hosting an MLS team at home, and this is something that we wanted to do when we were back in Phoenix. So I know what it means for you guys, and I also understand what it means for Houston. This club won it 2 years ago, and they understand with this coaching staff and some players that lifted that trophy, what it is, what the cup is, and what it feels like. And it's going to be an important game. It's going to be an important game for both of us, and I cannot wait to be back.
Yeah, for you personally, is it going to feel a bit weird coming back here and being on the opposing side?
Oh, of course. Well, it already feels a little bit weird, not just for me, but also for my family, for my wife, my 3 kids, Marco and Santi, that are the older ones, understand very, very well what Phoenix represents for us as a family. And our young daughter, she's now understanding and she sees, and sometimes it's like, why are they following a team from far away? And it means a lot for us. Everybody knows what Phoenix means and represents for myself and my family, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great to be back and see some familiar faces and be able to give them a hug before and after the game.
Yeah, how difficult is it? Obviously, from Phoenix's perspective, they're the underdog going into this game. They don't really have anything to lose. You guys have all the expectation on you going into this match. So how difficult is that when you're the higher division side going into a cup tie against the opposition team?
You're so good at your job that you're already putting pressure on us before we even land in Phoenix, and it's just I don't know. I don't really see it that way. I know what it is to coach Phoenix, and when you coach Phoenix, you never feel like an underdog, and especially when you're playing at home and there's a team visiting you, and I know what Bobby and Brandon are they going to be motivated, and the ownership group is going to be motivated. I know how Paul's gonna, it's gonna motivate the players, and I know a lot of players in that locker room, and I know how they feel. So when you visit Phoenix, no one in Phoenix feels like an underdog. So it's gonna be a tough game. So we're gonna have to be ready obviously we're the MLS club, and the expectations is that, I mean, we're expected to win, but also I know what it is when teams visit Phoenix, and people don't hope to win in Phoenix. They're expected to win. So it's going to be a good one.
So what do you think is going to be the key for you then on the Houston side to get a result from this match?
Well, little by little, we're finding our ways. It's been a year that had some adversity at the beginning of the year, because it was a big turnaround for us. We lost key players last year. Some of them, I mean, moved on, and the club also made decisions to sell players, which ultimately is very, very good for the organization. And we had to adjust, we had to adapt and transform. And I mean, new players have arrived, and now we're still trying to find our best ways. Little by little, the team is improving. Last month, we were able to get some points that we needed, but not just results, also performances. The team is starting to look how we want it to look. And obviously, with new players, it takes some time. But little by little, the team is looking better. So for us, on Wednesday night, is to keep taking steps forward, to keep playing our way, to be able to go to a tough place to play in an away match and come up with a result, but also a good performance that keeps giving confidence to the players, to the staff, and the team to keep moving forward and understand that we can still win, we can still get points playing our way. And little by little, we're going to keep looking better and better.
It feels like a good point to kind of rewind things a little bit back to your tenure here in Phoenix. And, that season that you spent here in 2023, the talk was always about process and building and knowing where you were trying to get to. Did you ever really expect that you were going to win the championship here so quickly?
What you always, that's what you want to do. So I don't think there's a team in the league that, when they train, where they prepared, and when they do things, they just don't. Since minute one, we understood that it was gonna be difficult, that it was gonna be the process. We use the word process and the journey. We spoke a lot about that with the players, and obviously our message to you and the fans and the media was a message of building something, of the process. But the expectation of winning, it's always there, and it's what I was telling you earlier. We know, we understand what Phoenix is and what Phoenix represents, and our time there. Yeah, you're sitting there, but people don't hope that you can win. People are expecting you to win, and you got to find a way to have a balance and be able to do both. When you're building, there's a lot of adversity, and there's a lot of bumps on the road, and it is difficult. The good thing about the system here in the United States is that it allows you the opportunity to build with a bit more calm, because all you got to do is arrive in a position where you're healthy enough till the playoffs, after a year of building, and then in the playoffs you just got to be ready to go. So it gives you that cushion and that opportunity that, yes, let's just arrive till November in a position that now we're ready to compete. Still gives you 6.5 months, 7 months where you could try new things and to find yourselves. Then you have a bit of a summer window as well, where you can bring in some players or some pieces that they might be necessary. Like we made some tough decisions on the year that we were together, where we sold Kev Lambert to the MLS. We were able to add 2 players with Panos and Darius that came in half through the year, because we needed those pieces, and then we adjusted, and the team clicked when it had to click. But teams don't click if priorly you don't do what it takes through that process. If you're not building, if the journey is not cleared until that time, then it becomes very, very difficult. And I tell you, the road in the playoffs is even more difficult than the prior 7 months, and you need to arrive very, very healthy and mentally strong to those playoffs, because then you don't go through 4 games with pure luck. You're going to have to need a lot more than that.
Obviously now with the time and the distance from when it happened, when you look back at that playoff run and just how you guys somehow got over the line in that one. What do you think were just the real keys for you to actually get it done?
Well, it was a lot of work that it was done prior to the playoffs, right? And even in the off season, and we were building the team, and I think the competition within the team and how close the team was to the supporter groups, and how close that sense of belonging that we had developed and injected and in the players, because it starts with us as a staff. Is that everyone in the club as a staff, and I'm not just talking about the coaching staff, I'm speaking about front office as well. We understood what Phoenix is, what Phoenix represents, what Phoenix ultimately, what they want or what we wanted. And then it goes to the players. If the players see the staff and the club pulling in one direction, they got to pull in that direction as well. But when there's a lot of new players, sometimes it takes time to get there, especially when you want to build that sense of belonging. So it was, for us, it was very, very important to connect the players as much as we could to the supporter groups, to the fan base, to put a team on the field that the fans felt identified and proud to see there. And then ultimately, it was, once that playoff run came, or when, I don't know, do you remember, we used to bring to that last training session before traveling, we invited all the supporters or the supporters group that they could watch the first part of training. And it was interesting because that first game versus San Diego, there's a couple of supporters, right? And then you beat San Diego, and then it comes Orange County, and then we do it again, and then you see more supporters. And then you win, and then you go to the final now, and that's a conference final versus Sacramento, and there's a lot more, and you're building that momentum, and then the players understand that this is not just about them, that it is bigger than all of us, that we're representing a full community. And then winning that conference, and then training that last game before traveling to Charleston to play for the championship. There has to be a picture somewhere in social media. It was a massive turnaround for training, and we all took a picture together with the cup, and we said we're still not done. And the players, it's doing that. I think for us, it was just building that sense of belonging. That was it, and it happens organically. There's not something that you could just push or shove it down their throat. No, it needs to happen organically, and in order for that to happen, you need to make sure that you have time. You need to make sure that when things get difficult, because when you're building and it's a new process and with the new players, things are going to be difficult at times. So when things get difficult, you guys are not just tearing each other apart. You stick together and you fight those things together. I think that's what gets the team even closer. And then the last piece, and I'll finish with what I started, is the competition. We had 22 starters on the team, in which in the playoffs we had to leave. For example, I use a big example, Fede Varela was a big name that we brought in at the beginning of the year, and he started for half of the year, and then on the playoffs he didn't make the bench. And Manu Arteaga was our starting striker for almost 85%, 90% of the year. Then the playoffs came, and we made the decision to use Darius Formella. So it was that competition that we kept it alive until the last minute. And the players knew. Carlos Harvey, I think the last 10 games of the year, I think he was on the bench for probably 3 or 4. And these are top players for us. And it was that. It was putting all those things together, just gave us the recipe that we needed in the playoffs. And then the players just did amazing.
Yeah. Obviously, after that, you just win the championship. A couple of weeks later, I see you over in the freezing cold scouting players overseas. At that point, so shortly after winning the title, your mind's already turning to next year. Was there any part of your mind that was thinking that maybe you wouldn't be in Phoenix the next year at that point?
That early, no. We traveled to Europe. We started to work. Yeah, you said it. What was it? A week, 10 days after it was a very short break, because we knew we wanted to travel and see some players before they would go on vacation. So it was a very, very quick turnaround. Bobby and Brandon, you know their vision. You know how hard they work. and which is very, very good because it also matches the way that I see things and I like to do things. So right away, we started thinking about next year. Who are the players that we want to keep? Who are the players that we might need to move? And then most importantly is who's going to arrive? Who's going to arrive? Well, what were the things that we did well on year one? And how can we now sustain it, not just for 1 year, but hopefully for 2-3 years. So at that point, all my focus was obviously on Phoenix, and then first of all trying to enjoy a little bit of what had just happened, and then on finding a way to build to do it again. But then obviously after the weeks had passed, my phone started to ring, like some opportunities starting to come by, and we did turn down one or two before this the phone call from Houston. At the end of the day, you know what Phoenix Rising is and what it represents, and Bobby, Brandon, the ownership group, Pablo, they have a growth mindset, and I do as well. And look what happened. In how long were we there? 15 months, maybe 16 months. We were able to move 3 players to MLS. It was Ben Lund, it was Kev Lamberg, and then Carlos Harvey. Me as a head coach, I would have liked to kept them. There were going to be 3 players super important: starting goalkeeper with Ben, our team captain with Kev Lambert halfway through the year where we really, really needed him. And then at the end of the year when we won the championship, Harvey had some options. And when they asked me, the first thing I said is, yes, like he needs to move. That's what we do over here. We allow players to come in, do a good job, and then keep growing. So for me, it's the same thing. And for Brandon and Bobby, it's like coaches that can keep moving on. It's people from the front office, it's team admin, equipment managers. There's a lot of people even from ticket sales and that work with Bobby in the front office that have moved on. So it's part of what Phoenix does. Is you go to a place, and if you do a good job and you can keep growing, they're not going to hold you back. And that's probably, I know that it was not an easy decision for the ownership group and from Bobby and Brandon, and especially for me and my family. But at the end of the day, I knew that they understood. And to this day, we have a great relationship. That we have a group chat. We speak collectively, we speak individually, and they know how much I care for Phoenix, or for the city and the community. And again, not just me, also my family.
You know, obviously, after you left last season, not the best for Rising. At the point that you left, you know, in terms of building the squad, did you think the squad was mostly there? Were you still, you know, looking at bringing in a few extra players at that point, or?
We were happy at the time. I mean, that the decision was made to go to MLS. We were happy with the squad and that we have. But once again, as a coach and as an organization, that's just it's a bit of you're building, and then you start preseason and you see how it looks, and then you still have a couple of weeks to add a few pieces if it's necessary to do so. Then the club decided to keep Danny Stone, in which it was I think it was the right decision from the club, because we had built that squad together. It was a players that he knew and they knew, and we had just played and spent a full year together, and it was the right thing to do to give him some continuity, you know. And then obviously at the end of the day is Danny, myself, Rick, and Pa. We all know, or any coach, and not just the USL or Phoenix or in the MLS. At the end of the day, you're gonna have to put a lot of things together that leads to ultimately results. And it's the job that we chose. And when you're in Phoenix, it's I always call it, and I say this with a lot of respect, being in Phoenix it's a beautiful problem. But at the end of the day, it has, there's pressure. You have to win. They want you to win. They want to win, and you're surrounded by winners. And at the end of the day, you have to ultimately, keep bringing good results.
Yeah, for you personally, though, you leave at that point, you move off to to Houston. How would you say this last year and a half has been for you over in Houston? What have you learned? All of that side of things.
It's been challenging. It's to come up last year to a league that I never played in the league as a player, right? So I come up new to a league in which I have to start learning. Styles of plays. I have to start learning what not just styles of plays for teams. It's also for coaches. Like the identities of coaches, and then individually learn about players. And it was demanding also because it was super fast. Everything happened in January, in the first days of January. So you don't have a lot of time to prepare. You have to just switch off, land, and start learning and growing right away. But I also felt that when you're uncomfortable and when it's challenging, that's also when you're growing the most. And for me, with Ben here now, Ben's been coaching in this league for a while. It's been a lot of years in DC, and now, year 3 here in Houston, if I'm not mistaken, it's over 13 years of head coaching experience in the MLS. So I am learning, from Ben, and the space and the trust that he gives me every single day is also very, very important for me. I have said this to my family. Probably I've said this to you as well, and I said it to Bobby and Brandon. My move to the MLS was not just because I wanted to keep growing and moving to the MLS. It also had to be at the correct place, or the place that we thought it was gonna allow us the opportunity to keep growing, to keep developing, and it was gonna challenge me. And it needed to involve certain things that were important for me at that time. And Phoenix, provided those when I was the assistant coach, and then I went back as a head coach. And now Houston, when they called and we put all the things on the table, it provided all these things for my personal growth as well. And this is why we made the decision.
Yeah, having spent that time learning under Ben, obviously presumably your hope is still to eventually go back to being a head coach at some point down the line. How close do you feel you are to being ready to return to that kind of a role?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm also, I'm not in a rush. I just want to make sure that, again, once it happens for me, it's not just like I want it to happen. I want to make sure that it's the right project, it's the right place. It's somewhere where, we can be connected as much as we can to everything that's important to us, right? So it's not just becoming a head coach. I'm in a good place right now. I'm learning, I'm developing. There's similarities, and you'll see, and you probably will. I'm sure you have watched us now on the style of play and the way we play here in Houston to what we were doing in Phoenix. But also for me, it's the defensive side of the game. I felt like I have growth a lot in this past year and a half. Now here it's the way you defend in the MLS. It's a bit different. There's players with high quality that you have to really focus on details and that has been my biggest. I'll say that the difference of working in the USL and the MLS, it's been that, and especially in Phoenix, we didn't have a lot of time. So that year 1, we focused a lot on what we wanted to do with the ball and moving forward. Obviously, the defensive side was important, but it was difficult to really focus on both when you're trying to build. And we put a lot more emphasis on the offensive side. Here in Houston last year, we were one of the best defensive teams in the league. And there's a lot of details that now I have learned, and we want to keep growing and developing. And it's a great coaching staff in which we all have different roles and responsibilities, and we work well with each other. So if you ask me, brother, I don't know. I don't know if I'm close. I don't know if I'm far. When I became a head coach, I was an assistant coach in the USL, and I felt exactly how I feel right now. I don't know if I was close or far, because at the end of the day, it doesn't depend on us. But I could tell you one thing is that I feel good. I feel good. I feel like I'm in a good place where I'm growing. And when the time comes, hopefully I'll be ready again.
I remember when you just come over from Oakland, you said to me how even while you were over there, you used to keep up with things that were going on in Phoenix and pay attention to what was going here. And it was hard to kind of tune that out. Is that still the way you kind of look at this club now while you're over in Houston?
Look, I'm just gonna say that sometimes they make fun of me here, but if I'm on the bus and you guys are playing, I'm watching the game. If we're in the meal room, I'll put the game, you know what I mean, on my phone. And if I'm in the locker room, I'm watching it as well. I cared about Phoenix. I cared about the community. I cared about the Bobby and Brandon, the front office ownerships, and especially the players that are there, and also the coaches. At the end of the day, we built a very, very strong bond. Not just me, also my family. Because when I say I'm doing this, I am doing it, but also my wife at home is following it with the kids too. So yes, we do follow, and we always going to do so. Now, I had never in person have a relationship with Pa, and we do text each other, and we kept in contact. We keep in contact. I keep in contact, obviously, with some of the players that played when we were there, and they're still around. And same goes for the coaching staff and Bobby and Brandon. So yes, when you guys win, we're very happy, and when you don't win, we feel exactly how you guys feel. So we're one more of you guys, but you guys also understand and know how competitive I am and how much I enjoy my job and enjoy winning and growing, and this is why I want to get there Wednesday night, because it's gonna be a battle, because I know you guys want it, but I also know that you guys know how bad I want it.
Without asking you to write their team talk for them here, how do you feel that the season started for Phoenix this year?
Well, I think it started just how Pa was expecting to start in a new project, where you have a new team with a lot of new players coming in, especially a lot of young players. It's been a bit different, and this is just my personal opinion, talking from very far away. And talking from far away, it's difficult and also sometimes dangerous, because you're not seeing what they see every day in training or what you see being there. But how I see it from far away is that it was a little bit different now, right? You guys were building now, and you did not go for this high experience profile players that have been in the league before, and you went more with a young, dynamic, hungry, very hungry team. It's been great to see the signings of the academy players from Phoenix. That's great, and not just signing them, but also seeing playing time. And I just think it's, yes, of course, you want to win more, and everybody trains and plays to win. But Pa knows what he's doing, and Bobby and Brandon also know what they're doing. They knew it was going to be difficult. They knew it was going to be challenging. And then you have all these young guys in this new team, and then on top of that, you add injuries to the equation. So now it gets even more difficult. I'll tell you one thing: if hopefully they can navigate this adversity and these tough times in a steady way. When I listen to Pa and after the games or before the games, and where I see the games, if they could stay calm and stay steady, but don't put the foot off the pedal, which they won't, and they navigate these difficult times and they stick together, once the team is fully healthy and they have rhythm and it clicks, it's going to be very, very difficult. On top of that, it's about to get very, very hot in Phoenix. I'll tell you something, I wouldn't want to go to Phoenix in a month when all the injured guys are back and they're clicking. It's going to be very, very difficult to play there.
All right, and then finally, one final message for the fan base here before you see them on Wednesday night.
They know how I feel. I'm been very, very transparent and honest, and I do it with you in front of cameras. I do it in my social media or with my family. I cannot wait to be there to see all of them in the stadium. I wish my family could have traveled. They wanted to travel, especially my wife and my kids. They wanted to be there and be part of it as well. And I wish them all the best this year. I'll see them on the stadium on Wednesday night, and hopefully we can shake hands, we can give each other hugs. But I know once the game starts, it's going to be a battle, and I know they're going to come after us, and they can be sure also that we're going to be ready because we want to win, and this club also wants to lift that cup once again.
Man, that's crazy. We just did a whole walk down memory lane, didn't you? Did that bring you back?
Yeah.
Man. That's why. That's crazy.
I used to speak to him every week.
I know,
mean,
but it's
multiple times.
It's crazy. It feels like that run and everything. It just feels like a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a long.
has.
Was it a year and a half?
Not even quite that, but yeah,
Yeah,
close.
Gosh, that's insane.
Ages.
Juan Guerra, what a guy. He helped forge the tattoo behind my right
Oh
shoulder.
yeah, I
Thanks a
forgot
lot.
about that.
Adman.
Tattoo.
Speaking of Adman.
Speaking of Adman, I think that's a great transition. We'll get into another break. On the other side, we'll break down Rising's matchup against Houston Dynamo as well as the weekend matchup ahead. Don't go anywhere. Gentlemen. There's always something we're talking about with our partners. And Damon, why don't you pull up who we have next? Because I got a little something special for you. It's our friends over at Branded Bills. Because here's the thing. You got to talk about who you're supporting, wearing it on your head. Branded Bills. You keep your head in the game with our friends over at Branded Bills with promo code PHNX. BBPHNX is our new promo code. 20% off with that new promo code again. BBPHNX. Save 20% off your order at brandedbills.com. Get your Branded Bill license hats with ASU, and I guess Damon is in the room. They do U of A hats, but we don't really talk about that.
Stuff.
They also, of course,
Fire U of A hats.
they're pretty nice. They're pretty nice. I got nothing wrong with that. But did you just throw?
Just fell short.
Did you just throw a Branded Bills hat at me?
I tried to land it directly in front of your computer so it was just perfectly presented, and I missed by about, 5 inches. Tough.
That's fair.
It's a bit more than 5 inches, man.
But Branded Bills doesn't miss. Now there's Kyle Cooper in the chat. Let's go, Captain. Miss you, buddy. But yeah, Branded Bills, they're not missing with their ASU hats. You have, looking good too. But yes, again, go to brandedbills.com, promo code BBPHNX for 20% off your order. Again, with that code. We also, of course, have our collab with Branded Bills over within our locker. Branded Bills, they're fantastic. They fit amazing. We're rocking them all the time. Go check them out today. Also, we're not trying to throw shade at Juan Guerra or anyone else, but we have a little shade, of course, thanks to our friends at All Pro Shade Concepts. Guys, I don't know if
that could have gone many ways.
I don't know if you realize this. It's kind of hot here in the summer.
I know.
Really?
You just said it gets hot.
I'm no meteorologist, but it's.
You're not.
Wow, I would highly recommend, right? You're doing your mini shades with your hats with Branded Bills, right? I do the big shades for your house with All Pro Shade Concepts. Get them today. It's very, very easy to do. Again, we had the shill, Mr. GM Espo. He got his All Pro Shade Concepts with our friends.
Wait to sell this, man.
With our friends over at All Pro Shade Concepts. They have all different types, patio shades, the ones where, you can recline up with a remote, the manual ones, whatever you're looking for, no matter how big or small, they have it for you. Espo did a whole thing where it's like the custom shades that roll up just with a push of a button. Very minimalist, but you can also go super expansive with what you're looking to do. It's hot. Literally cooling down your home is something that's not only refreshing and it feels fantastic just for your guests and entertaining outside, but also just like straight up, just do it, right? Silently in the chat, it's a dry heat. You got to cool down. All Pro Shade Concepts voted #1 by Ranking Arizona for patio shades in 2024 with over 1,000 5-star ratings. Again, over 1,000 5-star ratings. If you want to get in on any of the action, talk about it a bit, call 623-204-1476. Again, 623-204-1476 or visit allproshadeconcepts.com now to schedule your free home estimate. And of course, tell them PHNX sent you. All right, gentlemen, we're looking at this matchup in the Open Cup against Houston Dynamo. It's going to be a rising team of sorts that they're rolling out. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting who they roll out. Who should we expect to see the team?
Well, it's not going to be a cup team in the
players.
sense of hopefully. It's not going to be a cup team in the sense of they're dropping players because they want to. It's going to be a cup team in the sense that half the team's not there, so it's going to feel like they drop players. You've got no natural central defenders ready to go 90, as best as I'm aware. You got a limited pool of wingers ready to go 90, as far as I'm aware. Rémi Cabral will miss due to suspension. Jearl Margaritha will obviously miss due to injury. You've also likely got, I'm assuming that Damien Rivera is still not ready to go 90. Even if he goes a smaller amount of time, say you bring him on off the bench, you got to be prepared for that. They could go an additional 30. Alex Araneda, we haven't seen him play a single minute yet, and apparently wasn't ready to go 90 before, so I doubt he'd be ready suddenly to go 90 out of nowhere. At the back, so yeah, you've got no real centre backs. Askel's not available for this game again. We said it earlier, he's cap-tied, so Rising will have a team. I don't know what that team will look like. I'd imagine that Isan Saka will be starting up top. I'd imagine they're probably going to have to look to people like Darius Formella out wide. Sure. Maybe Hope Avayevu on the front line again. Yeah. So maybe you start paying. Yeah. If he starts Avayevu up top, you have to hope they're not as one-dimensional as they were in the previous game. He started Avayevu up top. But
I think I'd prefer to see Darius Johnson start, not because I think he can match the ability of anyone he'd be replacing, but because I think Hope is more glowing endorsement. Well, no, I mean that's really what it is. He's not at the level of Jearl. He's not at the level of a fully fit Damien Rivera, but he can provide something on the wing. And I don't want to see Hope in that left wing spot because we saw how it looked a couple weeks ago, where Rising just didn't have an attack that covered the full pitch. And I'd prefer to see him in the midfield, but you do need to not rotate, but make sure guys aren't burning their whole legs out because you got New Mexico on Saturday. Yeah. It is definitely going to be a challenge. I mean, Harvey Neville's probably going to have to start with Smith playing center back, I'm assuming, based off what we think's available. But it really is just going to be one heck of a puzzle to put the pieces together.
Going man, Pat, with a Tigo Sacco Johnson front line.
Can I raise one thing here? Sure. It's Barney's comment on King back on the bench. So Darnell King was signed to a 25-day contract. Yep. The club cannot re-sign him to another 25-day contract this season. So he would have to be signed to a regular season-long standard player agreement now. If they were to
get you man who do both, sign him, man. Yeah,
you can't sign a guy to a 25-day contract twice.
Are they? If he was on a 25-day contract and he was, still on it, would he be able to play an Open Cup? Is that allowed?
Yes, because I believe the Open Cup rules solely state that you have to be eligible to play in your league.
Okay.
They got rid of the other.
Ben is Ubered with the promotion. First few fans of Stain will be offered a place on the subs bench.
Wow.
Hey,
there we go.
That'd be crazy.
Almost as good as the t-shirt they're giving away.
Crazy if true. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I know D. Gole was not very hopeful. Thomas in the chat was saying riding the copium train with us. You think Houston's going to approach this from a competitive standpoint? We've seen MLS teams to varying degrees do this.
Well, here's the thing. They stayed in LA after their game on the weekend, and they're flying into here today. This afternoon from LA. So would it shock me to see some rotation in there? No, of course it wouldn't. Am I expecting them to go full LAFC like they did a couple of years ago and they put just effectively the next pro team out? And said we don't care and still won somehow in Monterey Bay? No, that's not what I'm expecting to see. So I think this will be a team with a lot of first team players, even if they're not first choice players.
Okay, guys, rapid fire score prediction. Hit it in the chat as well. We got.
I have no idea. It's a knockout game. Anything can happen. Houston hasn't been very good. They're towards the bottom of the Western Conference.
They're a possession-based team. They're not necessarily a big scorer. They're lacking in midfield a little bit anyway, at least this season. They've got the bones of something there, but they're not.
Yeah, it's just not together yet.
Does this game get settled in 90 minutes?
Maybe.
Yeah, it could.
You guys are absolutely killing me.
You know what?
Give me a bold prediction.
You know what?
Juicy.
I didn't give a score prediction to Par on Monday when he asked me as a joke, and I'm not giving one now. Knockout games, we don't do predictions for knockout games.
I'm very certain we did for the last one.
We absolutely did.
Yeah, and you know what? We're not doing it now.
You can't. Everyone else is. Silently in the chat 3-1. Houston Dynamo. Thomas in the chat 3-2. Rising win. Devin O, Rising win. D goalie, 0 confidence. Rising losing 4-0.
3-1 Houston. I'm sick. I like that.
Yeah,
like
3-1 Houston. Kevin in the chat, too many injuries. Goalie man Pat, Houston up by 3 at the half. Then it gets worse. This chat, I mean, overall, this chat is just very pessimistic. 4-1 Houston. Devin O go.
Everything's going to Pens.
If I have to watch Pens, I'm going to go to sleep.
I'm gonna go with a hard fought but boring 1-0 loss, and Rising bow out, but it goes past 90 minutes.
It's 1-1 through 90, and then the boys get it done in extra time. I'm ready to bring the juice. Someone needed to today. Let's do it.
Damon Dog behind the computer. And in the chat, 2-all draw.
The winner's going to be scored by a 17-year-old.
If it ends in Max's prediction,
doesn't matter who was.
I'm getting a pillow and a blanket and sleeping.
Yeah, that's understandable. I'm not saying I'm proud of it, but it is what it is. We will find out tomorrow evening. Very quickly, Rising do turn in the weekend to play New Mexico United. Oh, and how excited are we?
For your vacation to Albuquerque.
He loves it. Hey, are you happy at least they're not playing Open Cup against New Mexico United?
New Mexico haven't played in midweek, so they're going to be rested against a knackered Rising team.
But they did just give up an Andy Cabrera hat trick, which is
but I heard they made some changes for that game as well. So.
We did. By the way, we should real quick, bouncing back to the Open Cup, we do have that graphic with the little competition up ahead. Again,
just as a reminder, if Rising win.
Yes.
They will host the winner of the other game.
Yes, they would. Yes, they do it a little bit of either.
If.
Yes, it's a big if. Either Austin FC or El Paso Locomotive.
If Rising win, it'll be El Paso. I can. That's my prediction. Yeah. But if Houston wins, it could go either way.
This is fair. Yes, switching back to New Mexico United. I mean, right. With these two cups and these two matches in the balance, knowing that Rising, they're kind of floundering in the league right now. It's safe to say, do they go for it in the Open Cup? How would you approach this?
Right, one word, Reese.
I have no idea what you want me to say.
Just anything on that game. New Mexico.
Boring. That's what I'm gonna go with. I can't think of a word. I can see it being boring though.
Just for the scenario around it. Yikes.
Yeah. That's probably better.
It'll sting a lot more. It'll sting a lot more. I think you have to go for it on the day. Although Parra has admitted already that he's probably going to have to rotate in that game. Yeah. He said that about a week ago.
Sure.
So
you're kind of handcuffed at this point.
You don't have any choices. No. And it's only gotten worse.
Of course.
We can't play Ryan Flood at striker like they did last year. So
wow, what a time.
That was 2 matches.
Ryan Flood number 9. Some might say that's his best position. But
wow. Score prediction: New Mexico. Hit me with something.
2-0.
Okay.
New Mexico.
Okay.
3-1 New Mexico.
Wow.
I'm not feeling confident.
Damon, are we feeling confident about New Mexico?
5-0 Rising.
There we go. That's what we want.
Oh,
but here's the thing: if we all predict miserable score predictions, then maybe, just maybe,
we own those rats,
guys. What have
now that's what we need over there from
what
producer
have
Damon.
You done?
It will sting a lot more if Rising loses. By the way, it can't be an away day for El Paso. They can't host the next round. So Rising do have the highest hosting priority.
Yes. Let's see. Thomas in chat 1-all for that. Kevin 1-all for both those New Mexico match results.
I think a draw is realistic. It's just one of those ones.
Whoa!
Bonnie,
is Bonnie buying beers? Phoenix wins tomorrow night. I'll buy you guys a beer. Wait, is Reese old enough for a beer? No, he's not. Well, I'll take his beer.
His dad will probably try and claim it off him.
Shocker reflection.
Reese's dad trying to claim a beer.
Wait, David, you guys say Bonnie's buying beers. We love it.
Bonnie's buying beers.
Yeah.
But wait,
Triple B.
We love it. We absolutely love that. Reese is not of age. Thank you, Bonnie. Hopefully Rising get it pull through. We need the beers. Finally, we'll end the show on a much more of a positive.
Will we?
Wrexham!
Oh, no. Do we really have to?
Wrexham leapfrogging Cardiff. What a day.
Do we really have to do this? We love to see it. Do we really? No, we don't. We don't. By the way, Damon, please check Rising assignments, by the way, please, mate. But I know.
Wait,
it's a
no, we
miserable
don't. Do not
time.
check
It's a
me. We
miserable
don't
time,
do that.
right?
We should actually. I'm
Disney
gonna start
FC
ending the
cannot
show.
be
I'm gonna start
rewarded.
ending the show.
The mouse cannot be rewarded.
Paul Mullen, what a player. I don't know what he did.
What's he gonna do in the championship? The guy's already washed.
He's scoring 20.
He's not scoring.
I heard that. I heard the same thing.
After banger.
Reese, I heard the same thing before
Yeah,
this past
before
season.
League One.
League One's a different level, guys. There's no chance they could
I
go
need to next
up.
time wear my.
There's a difference, though.
I'm
I'm talking about Paul Mullen specifically now. Paul Mullen is washed.
I need to. I wore
Guy's
my.
got 3 goals in League One.
Welsh
I wore my. Where are we in the pyramid? The Wrexham shirt. During when I was playing in my Tuesday night soccer league, and it got some hips, and it's like, this is the most absurd shirt, and people are like, what is this? But now you know.
Max needs to
They
cling
need
to
to release
this.
a new one now.
Max needs to cling to this, because if he didn't, then he'd have to live with the sad reality that Ange is his manager still, and poor old Rees over there has to cling to it because he has to realise that they're going to finish in 4th despite being the second man
Top
in
division,
a
though.
2-horse race.
Hey,
And
we
top
got
4.
it.
Top 4 is all that matters.
We
in
might
the
be
day.
the worst of the non-relegated
you,
teams,
Arsene
but
Wenger.
it doesn't matter. Oh man! Yeah! Where are we now? Where are we now? We're up there. We're up there. We're up here now.
Wait, where's Cardiff?
Oh,
the
there.
Oh, got you.
Oh,
I needed that.
I remember when Damon sent me that, and he's like, Max,
All right,
we
Disney
have to get
FC.
this, and we got 2 on the spot. It was amazing.
All right, Disney FC.
Oh,
Mighty
we love it.
Wrexham.
Well, that's it for tonight. Appreciate you joining us here on the PHNX Wrexham podcast.
No.
The PHNX Rising
Hang on a minute.
podcast.
We've got a special message
Wait,
before we
no.
go.
Bonnie's buying the beers. We don't
A
need to play.
special
Bonnie's
message
buying the beers.
ahead of tomorrow's dollar beer night.
Bonnie's doing it.
Damon?
When you're ready to say cheers, don't forget Max is buying beers.
Remix.
Max is buying beers.
Bonnie's buying the beers. If we win, appreciate you, Bonnie, in advance. Hopefully, appreciate you joining us on the PHNX Wrexham podcast.
No.
Rising podcast. You can follow us at PHNX _ Wrexham. I mean Rising because double the underscore, double the.
Promotions. Actually, it's triple now. isn't it?
Hey, of course you can follow.
Go for another.
What up, Kev? You can follow me on Twitter at Max David Simpson. You can follow Owen on Twitter at Paul Mullins. Biggest fan. You can follow Owen on Twitter at OJ
Since when do owners
Evans18.
get medals as well?
You-
Like, what is this?
Oh, did you see the Gatorade bath they
Yeah,
did too?
no,
No free
no,
ads.
no.
You
What
can
is this
follow. No
nonsense?
free ads. You
My
can follow.
apologies.
It's
This
okay.
nonsense.
You can follow Reese on Twitter, Reese11
You know
underscore.
what? I can
You
just
can-
imagine Neil Warnock scowl.
You can follow
looking at
Damon
that
on
right
Twitter
there.
at DamonDog DAWG.
Follow Max if you want a free beer.
Well, I mean, again, Bonnie's buying, but
Max is buying
appreciate everyone
beer.
joining us. You say hello to us at the game. Bonnie is buying us beers if they win. We're gonna make that a thing. And of course, join us next week, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Break down all of the madness. Again, there's never been a mundane Rising match this season. We do not expect one tomorrow or on the weekend, but we shall see.
They could surprise us.
It is
in the best
they
possible way.
could. It is a beautiful game, but it's way more beautiful when Phoenix Rising, A, win a match, B, Bonnie's buying beers, and
And
C,
Max buys beers.
and
Max
C,
buying beers.
Max buying
Wrexham
beers.
going up and Cardiff going down. Let's go.
Max is
Good night.
buying beers.
We all silly like the mayor.